Greetings and welcome. Welcome to part 2 of Understanding Validation, a better way to communicate our acceptance. This morning I did part 1 and I decided to do a part 2 so we could get it in shorter increments. Who am I? I am Dr. Daphne Clarke-Hudson. I am a spiritual healer. I am an intuitive coach, consultant, and mentor. I work with my clients to help them to connect with their inner blueprint for success. And by so doing, they are able to live their life limitlessly and to reach unrealized potential and goals. So let me pick up where I took off from this morning. This morning we stopped at level 5 and I'm going to pick up at level 6 now. And in level 6, we talk about radical genuineness. Radical genuineness. What does that mean exactly? Radical genuineness is when you understand the emotion someone is feeling on a very, very deep level. Maybe you yourself had a past experience. Radical genuineness is sharing that experience as equal. Like, sometimes you hear somebody say, oh, I can relate to you because on such and such a time, I went through a similar experience. I'm with you and I can feel your pain. Understanding the level may be easy. Putting them into practice too often more difficult. Practice is the key to make validation naturally part of the way we communicate. Consider this example. The best friend is upset because her husband cut up her credit cards. She says, he treats me like a child and is so controlling. She doesn't have room to breathe. When you ask her what his reason was, she says that she overspent for the 4th time, running the balance over the limit by buying expensive shoes, and they were unable to pay the bill. How do you validate her? Remember to use your highest possible level. Think of your answer before you go any further. Welcome on YouTube. This is part 2 of the Understanding Validation, A better way to communicate acceptance. Probably level 2 is the highest level you could use, and you can go back into part 1 of this video to see what that level was. You could say, I understand you are upset because your husband cut up the credit cards without your agreement. That made you feel like he was acting like your parent. You reflect her thoughts and emotions back to her, showing that you accepted those feelings as her internal experience. You probably could use level 6, a radical genuineness, as it's unlikely you have similar experiences. That you could understand her feeling on a deep level, such as having had the same experience and reaction. In another level, level 5, you could normalize, where you would normalize would not work because most people would agree his response was reasonable and not be upset in that situation. There is nothing to make her response more understandable in terms of her history. So level 4 is not possible. Level 3 is also not applicable because she told her feelings clearly. Nothing to guess about it. So you see what happened? Yes, the husband cut the card up, and she relayed to you that it was only after she overspent and went over the credit limit on the card. It put them in such a bind, and they could not even pay their bills. So to solve it and to not let her go spend again, what he did, he cut it up. Now, we are in that conversation with her. We had no idea how many times that they had to go through that step. We don't know what brought them to that state. But the important thing here, in order for us to validate and communicate our acceptance of what she's going through, is just to acknowledge all of her feelings in an empathic way, and not to be judgmental. You don't have to say, but why did you have to buy expensive shoes? How many pair of shoes can you wear? No room for that. No reason to be judgmental. So you're being empathetic towards her. Let's try another example. Jessie tells you she quits her job. She quit because her boss loudly criticizes her in front of other people. She's asked him twice before to not embarrass her, but he loses his temper easily. She felt afraid of him because he reminded her of a verbally abusive uncle, and she couldn't continue to work for him. What level of validation do you use? Level 6 or level 5 might work in this situation. If you have been in a similar situation, or you really understand how she felt, you can validate her by saying, I completely understand. I would have done the same. That would be level 6. Level 5 would be, I think most people would have done the very same thing that you did. Though she has a history of being verbally abused, you don't use level 4 because level 5 fits. Always use the highest level possible. Level 4 would be to say, given the history of being verbally abused, I understand why you would quit. That's actually invalidating, because anyone, whether they had a history or of being verbally abused or not, would be upsetting if their boss humiliates them. Joanna calls you and tells about her diet. She complains that she has eaten chocolate cake and other sweets and wants to eat more, but she doesn't want to gain weight. What level of validation can you use? Level 3 would be a good choice. Joanna didn't mention any feelings, though she is eating for emotional reasons. You could say, has something happened? My guess is you are upset about something. Then she might tell you that the cat she's had for 6 months died yesterday. At that point, you could use level 5 or 6, depending on how you feel about losing a pet. When Sean was a teenager, she almost drowned. in a large pond. She was a poor swimmer and swam out further than she realized. When she stopped swimming, her feet couldn't touch the bottom, and she swallowed water. She panicked, and a friend swam to save her. Since that time, she's been afraid of water. A neighbor invited her to a pool party. A guy who was flirting with her pushed her in the pool, and she panicked. Even though she was only in waist-high water, she tells you that she's ashamed of her reaction and she hates being crazy. In this situation, level 4 would be appropriate. Given her history of almost drowning, of course, you panic when you were pushed into the water. Anyone with a history of drowning would probably react the same way. Emotional invalidation. Emotional invalidation is when a person's thoughts and feelings are rejected, ignored, or judged. Invalidation is emotionally upsetting for anyone, but particularly hurtful for someone who is emotionally sensitive. Invalidation disrupts relationships and creates emotional distance when people invalidate themselves. They create alienation from the self and make building their identity very, very, very challenging. Self-invalidation and invalidation by others make recovery from depression and anxiety particularly difficult. Some believe that invalidation is a major contributor to emotional disorder. Most people would deny that they invalidate the internal experience of others. Very few would purposefully invalidate someone else, but well-intentional people may be uncomfortable with intense emotions or believe that they have helped when they are actually invalidating. This part there is it's the main reason why mental health is rampant and on the uprise. What? Because people are embarrassed and they do not go to seek out help. However, when we are equipped with the right information, we can help out our friends, our family members, the people that we associate with. If we can have these soft landing conversation with them, they don't feel as though they are being judged. They don't feel like they are standing out like the red thumb. Because we are able to have sensitive conversation with them as it pertains to validation. They look and they say, oh, really? I'm not the only one that is going through this. So you can support them in a loving, kind way. Because what? Society is not kind to others. And this is why each of us need to carve out our own little niche in society, in community, that we can work with to validate who we are and what we are looking to become. In terms of self-invalidation, many people would agree they invalidate themselves, but would argue that they deserve it. They might say they don't deserve validation. They are uncomfortable with their own humanness. The truth is that validation is not self-acceptance. It is only an acknowledgement that an internal experience occurs. Verbal validation. Don't forget to share this content, please. There are many different reasons and ways that people who care about you invalidate you. And here are a few. Misinterpreting what is meant to be closed. Misinterpreting what it means to be closed. Sometimes people think that knowing just how someone else feels without having to ask means they are emotionally close to that person. It's like saying that they know you and as well as you know you, so they know, so they don't ask. They assume. And they even tell you how you think and feel. Can anybody relate to anybody like that that they have come in contact with over their lifetime? The next point is misunderstanding what it means to validate. Please be sure to listen to video 1, part 1, because you will get the full understanding and to put things in the right perspective. Sometimes people invalidate because they believe if they validate, they are agreeing. A person can state, you think it's wrong that you are arguing with your friend and not agreeing with you? Validation is not agreeing, but because they want to reassure you, they invalidate by saying you shouldn't think that way. Wanting to fix your feelings. Wanting to fix your feelings. Come on, don't be sad. Want some ice cream? People who love you don't want you to hurt. Or sometimes they validate your thoughts and feelings in their own efforts to get you to feel happier. We can all relate to that. You know, let's go for dinner, let's go for lunch, let's go for a cocktail. They're pacifying what you're going through. Not wanting you to hurt. Not wanting to hurt your feelings. Sometimes people lie to you in order to not hurt your feelings. Maybe they'll tell you that you look great. Husbands are known for that. Ooh, I can say that safely because I don't have a husband. You know those husbands will say, oh yes, honey, you look great. And he knows you look horrible, but he's not telling you that. You know? And the special one, do I look fat in this? Oh no, sweetheart, you look great. Maybe they tell you that you look great in a dress. That is true. It's not the best style for you. Maybe they agree that your point of view is an argument, when in fact they do not think you are being reasonable. Wanting the best for you. People who love you want the best for you. They may do work for you that you could do yourself, or even they encourage you to make friends with someone who is influential when you don't really enjoy the person, telling you that person is a great friend when it's not true. You could be friends with her. She'd be like, good friend for you. Woo! The beauty is that when you have a sense of discernment, you quickly pick that up. And you know, this ain't sitting right. But the things that people will do to validate you, you know, there are also many different ways of invalidation. Here are a few you can look on. A big one is blaming. Blaming, blaming, blaming. You always have to be a crybaby, always upset about something, and ruin everybody's holiday. Why don't you put up gas in your car before you get home? You never think and always make everything harder. Blaming is always invalidating. Blaming is different from taking responsibility. Hoovering is another one. Hoovering is when you attempt to vacuum up any feelings you were uncomfortable with, or not give truthful answers because you do not want to upset or to be vulnerable. Says it is not such a big deal when it is important to you. Is hoovering, saying someone did a great job when they didn't, or what your friends love when they didn't. That's hoovering. Not acknowledging how difficult something might be for you to do is hoovering. Saying no problem, of course, I can do that, when you are overwhelmed, is hoovering. Judging. Judging. You are overreacting. And that is ridiculous thought. Are examples of invalidation. By judging, ridicule is particularly damaging. Here we go again. Cry over nothing. Let those big tears flow because the grass is growing. Talking about judgmental. And the last but not least, okay, let me just finish a few here. It's already 30 something minutes, but it's going to get us over. Denying. You are not angry. I know how you act when you are angry. And you have eaten so much. I know you aren't hungry. Invalidate the other person by saying they don't feel what they are saying and feeling. Minimizing. Don't worry. It's nothing, and you are just going to keep yourself awake tonight over nothing. Is usually said when with the best of intentions, still the message is not feel what you are saying. Nonverbal invalidation. Nonverbal invalidation is powerful and includes rolling of the eyes. Oh yeah, we West Indian people know about that. And drumming the fingers in a impatient way. If someone checks their watch while you are talking with them, that is invalidating. Showing up at important event but only pay attention to emails, or playing a game on your phone while we are in a meeting is invalidating. Whether that is the message for the person meant to see it. Nonverbal self-invalidation is working too much, stopping too much, or otherwise not paying attention to your own feelings through thoughts, needs, and wants. Replacing invalidation with validation is the best way to stop invalidating others or yourself. It's by practicing validation. Validation is never about lying or agreeing. It's about accepting someone else's internal experience as to avoid misunderstanding. This is very powerful. So, for those of you who have been having challenges in validating and accepting yourself and others, I hope that you will take advantage of these two videos and use that to begin to effectively validating all of the people that you have come in contact with. Validation and acceptance is a powerful way to enhance our business relationships as well as our personal relationships. Remember, the sooner we can connect and to utilize what's going on, the quicker we are able to validate and to accept a better way of communication. So again, I'm Dr. Daphne Clarke-Hudson. I am a spiritual healer. I am your why and soul purpose coach and consultant. I hope you will connect with me so that we can get connected on a deeper level, and I'll be able to usher you into your bigger greatness. Stay well. I love you, and there's absolutely nothing you can do about that. I'll see you again tomorrow morning when I am back live. Love you and be blessed. Have a wonderful, wonderful night.